Hello everybody. Welcome to this case study and enoughness interview with Madhu Jeyakumaran. Madhu, welcome.
Thanks, Shilpa.
Yes. And I'm very excited today because we are going to, we have kind of delivered a baby together. That is Madhu's book. It's called Stride. And yeah, actually, I'm just distracted by the pings. Just bear with me for once.
Yeah.
I need to shut down Facebook. All done. So this is like a live example of imperfect action, right? So this is Madhu's book. It's called Stride, and it is a woman's guide to an extraordinary life, career, and leadership. And this is one of the books I have told Madhu so many times. I'm just so proud of the content. I'm so proud of the whole journey and the book. Madhu, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I actually transitioned myself from a corporate woman to an entrepreneur and a leadership coach. And when I was really looking to what I really want to do, I think writing the book also gave me that clarity in terms of what is that really drives me, what is my purpose. I think I found my purpose when I was writing the book, which is to actually help women like me navigate their life through the tough terrain of a corporate world and balancing life, and to actually live extraordinary lives, because I think we all deserve to live an extraordinary life. So when I say extraordinary, it means that doing things that matter most to us. For me, that is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Whether it's career success or whether it's pursuing something which is of really importance to you, spending time with family, all of that put together, that's living the extraordinary life. And I think purpose is at the baseline of it. We don't really have to do, some people think purpose is very complicated thing, but I think in the book also I've really simplified purpose for people, which is just be a better version of yourself. That's a great starting point.
Yeah.
And as we go as we go, any human purpose actually just becoming better version of ourselves ends up being something big, because eventually we'll keep evolving ourselves to a point where we'll reach that breakthrough point that, yes, I found my purpose and this is what we do. But the starting point is just becoming a better version of ourselves.
I think you've already started throwing in golden nuggets. This is really fantastic and I think I would take that as a huge gift, if someone says that they discovered their purpose in the journey of writing their book, because, purpose is one of those things which people obsess about, and like it's overrated. And yet there's a lot of stress around it, a lot of pressure around it, right? Like new coaches, when they're trying to set up their business, they're constantly stuck in the rut of doing vision, mission, purpose, value exercises, right? And the more we obsess about it, the more it eludes us, right?
That's right.
But
That's right.
what I'm noticing in your journey is, like, when you just got on with business and just started doing the do, your purpose like came and stood there right in front of you.
That's right. I think I just said yes to a better version of me, which was in the book writing context, saying yes to stepping up and writing the book. That was being a better version of myself.
And I love how you have simplified it. So for all of you guys, like, listening, guys and girls, anyone who's lost on their purpose and have no idea what the hell is my purpose, like, I don't know, when will I find it, just tell yourself, allow yourself, give yourself the permission to believe that becoming a better version of yourself is your purpose. And in that quest, your purpose will come and stand right in front of you.
That's right.
Right. So let's take a step back, Madhu. I want to ask you, what was your first taste of enoughness? Or should we say, what was your first taste with not enoughness or emptiness? Like, when did you feel that? When were you feeling it? Not first, but recently.
Yeah. So, I think even when we were discussing about this whole idea of writing a book, I
Mm-hmm.
used to question myself, like, really, like, am I really gonna be able to write a book? So those was the questions, like, do
Yeah.
I have actually content? What do I have to write a book? And who will read that book?
Oh,
Those were the questions that popped in front of
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Like, I
Thank you for
felt like,
not.
who am
Yeah.
I to write a book?
Yeah, and look what just happened. So, thank you for normalizing these
Yeah.
questions. This is the self-talk of every
Mm,
aspiring author as well as published author. Like now when I ask
mm,
you, Madhu, what's
mm,
the idea about your second book? And the same
mm,
thoughts
mm,
start racing through your mind, right?
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. So, yes, like, do I have enough content? Who will read my book?
Yeah.
Mm.
And biggest one for me was, and I think I discussed with you also, like, I don't have a very dramatic life. So, like,
Yeah,
like, I don't have like a filmy story that I can write about. I've
neither do
had a
I.
very
Yeah.
yeah. So mine is the story of a regular girl who grew up to be a woman, an ambitious woman, of course. And that's it. That's about it. That's my story. And there is no, like, in any, there is an Indian word
Yeah,
for it. There
no,
is no masala in
exactly.
it.
Exactly. And yet, we were discussing this just yesterday in our conversation that your what can I say? There was this word which is just not coming to me. But anyways, um, like, yes, you were a simple girl who had the support of her parents, lot of love, no family
Mm,
drama. Likewise,
mm,
I was,
mm,
my parents are both together, never had to like struggle for money as such. Like, my parents looked
mm,
after me. They paid for my marriage, they paid for everything. Like, I'm living in Australia,
mm,
I have a very good life. So, yes, my life, my story is very boring, but
mm, mm.
coming from the point of enoughness, I can't
Yeah,
emphasize enough. Your boring is
yeah,
exciting enough, and
that's right.
yeah, but did you discover some dramas within you in the last few months in your
Yeah.
journey? Like,
Yeah, I actually, during while writing the book, so because I remember going through the 10-day challenge, even before actually the whole
mm,
process. I think the message that sort of resonated with me about what you said is because, okay, so you don't have enough drama, but maybe that is exactly why you should write that book. And that struck a chord with me because I was like, yeah, there are so many women out there just like me who are just regular girls with not much good drama and who grew up to be women, and they are struggling. They are struggling in their own respect every day at work, at
exactly.
home, but
Yeah,
then maybe in smaller ways, in minuscule ways. But that doesn't take away from the fact that for them it is real struggle. And
absolutely.
that's exactly why I
And
should
I'm just
write this
going to
book.
clarify drama because, drama, like, I just want to not leave it to a vague understanding. But by
Mm.
drama, we mean, um, like challenges in life, or,
Yes.
I read this quote. I think it's from Oprah Winfrey. You don't need
Mm.
to have a near death experience to
Mm.
get a deeper understanding on life. You know,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right.
So we keep like
So
when we hear other people's go for it. Yeah, tell me.
yeah, so in my context, struggle means discrimination. Struggle means lack of balance. Struggle means over expectations from yourself, from you, and from
Yeah,
others of you.
yeah.
So that is
So there
struggle.
was a
That
lot
is
of drama.
struggle in my sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like
Yeah,
silent drama. Like it's not on
that's
the
right.
outside. But yeah.
Mm, mm, mm.
But that makes me think like internal struggles can be much harder than the struggles which are visible outside, you know
Yeah, right. Exactly right.
because you're
Mm,
fighting a silent battle. You can't even share with anyone because, oh my god, out there everyone thinks I'm
mm,
perfect. Who do I share with?
mm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Exactly, exactly. In fact, that I think that is why I decided to write the book, because I had to be the voice for them, because that struggle is not a visible struggle. So
Yeah,
who's gonna
yeah,
voice that
yeah.
out?
I love it. So
Mm,
you're there standing and representing and voicing the invisible struggles.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so my next question to you was going to be, why did you write this book? And tell me what you were experiencing in your, journey of starting a coaching business, and like you were right at the start.
Yeah. Yeah. So, a couple of things. One was, like I said, writing the book gave me a lot of clarity about who I wanted to help and how exactly I wanted to help them. It's sort of, I think I was laying out the foundation structure of what exactly I need to help my clients with. So that's the layout of the book itself.
Yeah, wow.
So that clarity came through.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, which I think was a bonus and a really big bonus, was I was a very head person. I was a very mind person.
Right.
And I struggled with that many times because for the longest part of my life,
Yeah.
that's how I've lived.
Yeah. Plus, I
So, but
think
when
in
I wrote the
corporate,
book,
they don't encourage using a lot of heart, right? I mean,
that's right. That's right. That's right. Even not just in corporate, I think even when we grow up as kids, like if you are a kid who is a bit of a high achiever on the above average side, suddenly the expectations from people are like, oh, push through, more, more, more. And
mhm.
all the time, you're just stuck in your head because I'm thinking, okay, what next? And
Yeah, okay.
there's no place for the heart, which is very sad.
Right.
um, I actually, for a long time, used to think that crying is so much like crying is such sign of weakness. I
Yeah.
shouldn't express emotions. It's crazy. So for me, when I wrote the book and I was writing about my stories, I think for the first time I looked at myself like a third person, and there was so much feeling that poured out. Like there was a lot of feeling that happened. So I think I finally made that cross the biggest journey of the distance of from the head to the heart.
Wow.
So that was a bonus.
That's like a bonus, and like a massive bonus. It's such a gift.
Mm,
Because I
that's
remember,
right.
it's been
Mm,
my journey as well. I was a very head person, very
mm,
techie. To transition from
mm.
thoughts to feelings
Yeah,
is a huge,
thoughts to feelings.
yeah, right.
I
So,
remember how it happened also, Shilpa. If you remember,
mhm.
like I had initially written some stories, and you told me, Madhu, you need to show the story more.
Yeah, yeah,
Can
yeah,
you add more details and just take the reader into your journey?
absolutely.
I'm like, oh, really? Okay. And that made me take a step back and
Right.
actually get into my story and help others do that, my reader do that.
Yeah,
That's how
and
I
now
think the
when
journey
they're
happened.
reading your story, they are kind of, it's gripping, and they are hooked, and
Mm,
they can be with you. They can imagine, they can
that's right.
visualize you sitting in a room with
Mm,
your baby, or what not, all those
mm,
incidents, right? So, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, taking a step back, why did you want to write the book? Like, at what stage of your business were you in when you started writing the book?
Just when I was starting out,
Yes.
very, very beginning. Um, I think the good part was I said yes to myself. I said, yes, I want to do this because um, I wanted to get clarity on what I want to do. I want to help people because the whole point of setting my business was
Was.
to help women.
Yeah.
That was what I wanted to do. And this is like instant help. I don't have to wait to establish my business or grow my business. I'm instantly just helping out someone.
Yes. Through a book.
So that
Through.
was number two.
Yeah.
The third one was that I wanted to play a bigger game for myself. So I wanted to work with the big corporates and all of that. So I had that dream and the vision for doing that. And I thought, okay, so when I go out in the market, when people see that I've already written a book, that will give me a great entry point.
Yeah.
That's it. Like my authority is established. So for me, that I think those were the three prime reasons
Yes.
majorly.
And I will never forget these words out of your mouth. I was like, Madhu,
Mm,
what made you decide so instantly? And you said,
mm.
Shilpa, I don't have all the time in the world. I
All the
want to do
time
it
in the
now.
world.
Right? So,
Exactly.
having said that, of course, you jumped in head on,
Mm,
and, you wanted to do things now. You didn't want to wait for a certain level of perfection, to
yeah.
get that permission to write your book. You gave yourself the permission right on day one. So, what were
Mm.
some of the obstacles that you faced? And did perfection try to lure you on its path, you know?
Yeah, very much. So, um, I remember writing the first chapter. Like I didn't know where to start, right? So, so first chapter I wrote like 2 drafts, and I was like, oh my god, this is shit. So I wasn't happy with them.
Yep.
And then finally I wrote the third draft. I really had to think about a lot of stories. So I was like, just let it go. Forget about perfecting things. Just write what you feel. Just write about your life. What would you write? How would you introduce yourself to the reader? So I think I let go of the perfectionist then. And then I was like, let me just write, get started,
Yeah.
and just take action and see how it goes. So the overthinking was like,
Yeah, because there's something
what
called
do you call it?
editors, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, overthinking was really crippling me. Then
Yeah.
the third draft that I wrote, like I just wrote it in one shot. Like I didn't look back. I just wrote it in one shot.
Mm.
And I was so happy with it. I'm like, yes, done. I'm just gonna go ahead with it. So yeah, I think that's how it happened. And I think I stuck to a discipline that I had to put in 2 hours every day to this process. That's how I'm gonna get done, like in the
That is
timeline that I've
gold.
set.
That is, you know, that's, yeah, a golden nugget, which is superb, you know, like creating that
Mm,
discipline and getting it
yeah.
done, you know. And
Mm,
at this point, I must mention that Madhu has a 2-year-old boy who doesn't go to daycare. He lives with him all the time. And, you know, so there's 10,000 opportunities for her to get distracted and to be called by her boy. But, you know, she figures it out. And, you know, so I really commend you for that. Like, I don't know how you do it.
Thank
And
you, Shraddha.
um, you know, what was the language of self doubt like? Like, you know, what do you recollect telling yourself? Like, what were the typical words? Especially when you were
So
transitioning between those drafts, you know, and eliminating
yeah,
everything.
yeah. Some of the things were like, is this actually gonna? Is this actually good?
Hmm.
Um, is my reader actually gonna connect with this content?
Yeah,
Are they getting value out of this?
yeah. Is this valuable?
Yeah, is this valuable? Am I even gonna get this done?
Right. Yeah.
Those were some of the things.
And they
Because
sound
there were
so
many
common.
points. Sorry.
Now go for it. Tell me.
So there were many points where I felt stuck, right? Sometimes the content flows, sometimes it gets stuck. So
Yep.
when it gets stuck, I'm like, oh my God, now what am I gonna do? Like, am I even gonna get this done? Kind
Right.
of a thing. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure. Right. So, any brief, like, okay, is there any, okay, let me actually take a step back. Was there any truth in any of
Mm.
the obstacles you faced or any of the self doubt language that you were having in your head? Was there any truth to it?
Mm. Actually, now that the book is out and people have read it and they've said like such positive things about it, like, oh my God, this is my life. The
Yeah.
first chapter itself just transformed my thinking. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the kind of feedback that I received from people who read the book.
Yeah.
And a lot of senior people who are in fact part of my story, they reached out to me and they acknowledged me and stuff. So when that happened, I'm like, okay, yeah, like I think even when the publishing got done, there was always this bit of doubt, self-doubt in the
Yeah.
head.
Is the book
Is
good
my
enough?
work good enough?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like now it's out. There's nothing that I can do about it. No more editions possible.
Right.
Even at that point, there was self-doubt. I would
Yeah.
be lying if I said I didn't have. So I did have. But now when it's out and when people have come back with this kind of feedback, I'm like, yeah, okay. Actually, none of that stuff was really valid. It was just, yeah, like
Yeah.
me doing the exercise for futile.
Right. So, is there any aspect of your life where you
Mm.
still have a doubt that your story matters?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes, in bits and pieces, it keeps happening once in a while. But I think majorly now, I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty comfortable discussing my story.
Right. And so that's what. So basically, that your story matters. As
Yeah,
meaningless it might seem to you in the moment, but
that's
when
right.
you're able to value your story, and you've kind of
Yeah,
set a solid foundation for yourself, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, any brief advice to anyone who thinks, yes, your story matters, but there's hardly any such story in my life, and my story is meaningless or my story is boring?
Actually, everybody's story matters. Like if my story matters to people, which I initially thought wouldn't, because
Yeah.
there's not much to it. And if it really mattered to a lot of people, I think yours does. I think that would be my advice, because there are many people who are going through exactly what you are going through in life.
Mm,
And most often than not, we discount we discount some of our struggles as nothing,
yeah.
and we discount a lot of our blessings as nothing, because that's a human tendency.
Yeah. I just got goosebumps hearing that. So thank you. It's really,
Mm,
yeah, like,
mm,
yeah, staying present and having awareness constantly
yeah.
that, yes, I am struggling, and I'm
Mm,
fighting, So
mm,
I am no godly person. I am human
that's right.
and I have my challenges. And as much as it might seem that mine is a gifted life, like I have my
Mm,
challenges and my
mm,
story is worthy of, yeah,
mm,
it has its
mm,
lessons.
mm,
It's almost like what you just said a little bit ago. It reminded me of a quote which is used for love. Someone
mm.
somewhere is waiting for you. How much
Yeah,
you think your story does not
yeah,
matter to
yeah,
anyone, someone
yeah.
somewhere is still waiting for you, for your story.
Is still waiting to read that story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to share one more thing which really, really resonated with me, Shilpa, when I was writing this book. And especially because I was starting out. I was just starting out, right? So there was this quote that I read, that you don't have to be an expert to help others. Simply by helping others, you become an expert.
I love it.
And when I read that, I'm like, oh my God, this person is speaking to me. Like,
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah, like exactly. And that's the principle I talk about when I talk about authority, like author,
Mm,
ITY. You
mm,
can wait for all the years and for all the number, like people have so many unwritten rules and complicated
mm,
rules which they are not clearly
mm,
aware of
mm,
when will
mm,
they give themselves the permission to write a book, you know
mm,
so some people
mm,
wait, no, I think I must have at least 1,000 hours of coaching experience, or at least 500
mm,
hours, or I must have 50
mm,
clients, or I must have
mm,
10 paying
mm,
clients, or I must have this
mm.
or that, or what not, like, and
Yeah.
who set these rules? And if
Mm,
any one of you listening to this, if you have such rules, take a moment, like don't discard the rules because I'm saying so or Madhu is saying so, but take a moment to step back and what can I say, explore where did the rule come from and how much truth is there to the rule, because Madhu has just defied this rule. Like, she started her coaching journey and her book writing journey pretty much on the same day. The decision happened very much like maybe a week apart,
yeah,
right?
yeah, a week apart,
Yeah,
exactly a
yeah,
week apart.
yeah. Right. So really, it's you who can give yourself the permission to become an author and authority in the field of your work right from day one, right from the start. You know. So, how has the book helped you, Madhu, and in what ways has it strengthened or highlighted your enoughness?
Mm, mm,
Love it. Really.
yeah. So, the first thing, of course, like, is telling myself that, it's like a message to myself that you can do this, like you've done it, like, and the discipline that it brought into my routine, that
Yeah,
is number one, like the most fundamental thing.
awesome.
um Yeah. So the second thing was, of course, when the book got out and it got published, and I was doing the promotions for the book.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the first time ever I put myself out there,
Really?
like in a never before way.
Yeah, yeah,
So for me, it was big, and it showed me that what it is like to put yourself out there, on social media and stuff. And when I did the launch, it was a very vulnerable launch. Like I shared my story and I got emotional.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah. So all that was a first, and I think it prepared me for the realness of being a coach,
right.
of being vulnerable, of of putting yourself out there. That those were the fundamentals of what happened. Then, of course, what followed after the launch was tons of recognition, people taking note of me, oh my God, like what has she done, kind of
Yeah.
a thing.
Who is this
Like
woman?
suddenly all the
Where did she
people
come
who were
from?
like yeah,
Yeah,
like my critiques, or maybe people who thought, um, who probably forgotten about me, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
all those people took notice. They started congratulating me. That followed. And then from a work perspective, I think it put me on a pedestal. Like people are suddenly started taking me seriously. I
Yeah.
mean, this, that just after, even while I was writing the book, I had applied for 2 speaking opportunities. One was an international one,
Mm-hmm.
where I got an opportunity to speak at this international conference. I think at some level, the fact that I was a author in making
In the
gave
making.
them that gave that edge for
Yes,
sure.
that you got selected.
And
Yeah.
that's right, that I got selected and I had an opportunity to speak. And when I actually went there to speak, before that my launch had happened, so I know what it's like to be vulnerable on stage. So I could just replicate that in every stage
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I went.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And I wanted to work with corporate clients, and that came true.
Wow.
So they said yes. People said yes. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Like, how is this happening? And I'm pretty sure that when they read my profile and they saw that I just published, globally launched a book,
Yeah.
um, it definitely added to my profile.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
so,
So I see
so it
you've
was
just
easier for people
busted
to say yes.
one more, sorry to interrupt. You've busted one very important myth. A lot of coaches out there, again, there's so many layers, which is like, uh, what can I say? Unproven layers, like people think I have to first start speaking, then I can write a book. And you did it completely the other way around. I did it the other way around. Like my speaking
Mm,
journey, I enjoy speaking a
yeah,
lot,
yeah.
but my speaking began after writing my book.
Mm,
Because,
mm,
and now, because once we've written the book and when we go up there on stage, we have something tangible to leave our
mm.
audience with, right? We're like, yeah,
That's right.
keep the conversation going, grab a copy of
Mm,
the book. And
yeah, yeah.
um, yeah. And I also want to elaborate a little bit about those international conferences that you did. So, um, yeah, of course, like we were both there together in India,
Yeah.
and uh, it was the World Diversity and Inclusion. So we must not, like it's a proud thing, and I want to mention the name. So it was actually World Diversity and Inclusion Conference, right?
Yeah, Congress, yeah.
Congress, right? And you were able to present there, and share the stage where Marshall Goldsmith spoke.
Mm,
So
mm,
you were in that pack of speakers, right? Where there were these really established authorities presenting their concept, their idea, and you were one of them. So
yeah.
I think
Mm,
it's massive. Um,
yeah.
Within the first 6 months of starting your business, and straight
Mm,
after writing your book. So, and then I know like you've been traveling a lot, doing a lot of speaking, booked out.
mm,
So how does that convert to business? Like how has that, let's talk about some tangible results as well.
yeah.
So yeah,
So,
more
so
opportunities are coming your way.
yeah, sure. So one is when people see that I spoke on that stage, um, like it was easy for a corporate client to say, yes, we want to have you. speak at our event, like, and that's how I got my first paid corporate client.
Yeah.
Um,
And that.
and yeah, like
Again,
I didn't
you
have
could
to
have waited. You could have waited for perfection. Like, no. I need to first get a few paying clients, then I will write my book. But the other way worked very well for you. Yeah.
That's right. So now, like now that I'm at the stage where I've spoken at conferences, I've facilitated workshops. Actually, I've done one-to-many work even before I did proper one-on-one
Yeah,
work.
congrats. Like it's
Everything has happened.
There are no rules, right? It's just what you decide, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. So now I'm re-looking at my business model and say I actually want to start doing one-to-many like right away, and that's
Why
how I
not?
want to run my business.
And you can
Yeah.
create massive impact, like a larger impact. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So I'm confident about speaking at conferences now and doing my own workshops. I have no qualms offering facilitation sessions for corporates or for large corporates.
Right.
So I've already so I'm going to be doing a workshop for one of the leading universities here in Adelaide. So it's all booked.
Oh, congrats! So yeah, wow. It seems like a magical story, but it's not as magical. Like, of course, we've talked about your challenges, and there are the obstacles in any story which sounds like an overnight success. There's a quote: "It took me 30 years to become an overnight success." So it's the work you put in the background.
Yeah.
Right. So just what
you're not sure about what's the outcome, right, Shilpa? Like when I reached out to those corporates, I had no idea like how it's gonna turn up, but I just said yes, and it happened.
Yes.
To this university, same thing. I just thought I'd add value. I wanted to add value, and I wanted to contribute in a way to a student's journey, to the female students, their growth, and that's it. Like that's how the session happened, and all the other things around it. So there's always self-doubt, but
yeah, I know. And I think I've heard this from you many times. Like this has been a mantra which really inspires you and keeps you in action is, say yes and figure out how. Because I remember our conversations. You're like, Shilpa, you know what? Like I've just said yes and this came to me. I just said yes and this came to me, So yes, awesome. So is there anything in particular that you would like to highlight that you enjoyed in us working together? And, yes, like what was the experience in writing the book with me in like, the whole, what did you get?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So genuinely, Shilpa, when I was very new to Adelaide when we signed, like when I decided to work with you and to my coaching journey. So I really looked up to you. I wanted somebody to be my accountability partner, somebody to help me with this whole journey of getting started. Like I remember I told you that I've seen so many startups fail, Shilpa. I don't want that for me, and I think that's exactly what I liked about our relationship, because you were there whatever support that I required. I think I reached out to you every time, to you and Akhilesh, in terms of whether it's just like a stupid administrative question or it's a complex strategic question. Like I always had that support in the form of you guys. And from a book writing perspective, I didn't have to worry about all the finer nuances. It was all taken care of. Like my role was just to write the book and focus on how do I want to promote it, what do I want to do about it, and the rest of it was just taken care of. So that was made simplified and made easy for me. And it was not just the book writing. For me, the marketing part was also like really important, I mentioned, because I was a newbie. So, and a lot of our conversations, I had like a lot of value to take away from that, in terms of what can I do. And I saw you very closely what you do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, of course. Like,
I just thought,
in becoming my client, you were also like, observing my channels, yeah, of course, my delivery, right? Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And the accountability partner thing happened, like what's happening. I remember we put out the 90-day goals and you shared the template. So
Yeah.
everything became like, I started making more sense of what it's like to be in business.
Right.
What should I actually do day in and
Yeah,
day
yeah, yeah.
out?
Yeah.
So that journey became easier.
Sure,
I
sure.
think you brought a lot more discipline into what I was trying to do, like a method to the madness kind of a thing.
Good. That's
So
good to hear.
that
Okay.
helped.
Right. And also I'm going to talk about, the sales side of things, like the sales conversation and
Mm,
the work that we did together
yeah,
on, like building your sales muscle. How do you feel
yeah,
about
yeah. Oh, so we started. So it was very nice. Like now that I think about it, I think Shilpa, um, she started me get. She got me started on market research conversations
that? Yeah,
initially.
in the
Maybe
beginning.
that's the way. It was the more non-threatening way. So I said,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
so she, so she helped me with the script, and I just went. I just followed the script, and it felt as if like, oh my god, like I'm nailing this. I had not even done my foundations in a TCI context,
Coaching. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
fox. And I had already spoken to like 5 6 clients, and I had conversations, and at the end of each of those conversations people were like, oh my god, that gave me so much clarity, nobody has asked me these questions before.
Right.
And I'm like, really?
Really? Yes.
So
I thought it was me who was getting everything, but yeah. I mean, when we're conducting a market research, we
that's right.
think that we are the only ones getting something out of it.
True,
But the
true.
one who's being questioned, one who's being interviewed, it's a great clarifying process for them. And like market research is, it's very different from a sales conversation. I'm not saying that, we were kind of, mixing up the two, but it's a good taste of a sales conversation, right? Because even
Yes,
a sales conversation
yes.
is extremely a clarifying process and saying, look,
Correct.
I need to really understand what is it that you need, and am I a good fit?
Mm,
Are you ready to work with me? So
mm.
actually that's a good reminder,
Yeah, so
like
I
right.
got started on the market research once, like because I was like, okay, I'm just asking questions, and
Hmm.
then you told me, okay, now it's time for you to do the sales conversation. I'm like, okay. I mean, if
And I think,
even
yes, I remember, because this is what I tell everyone, right? Like right from day one, it's not like
mm,
I will learn to sell after I've written my book. I will
mm,
start selling from day one. I'm ready for sales because I'm in business. Otherwise, you might as well not be in business, right? So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So then when you said, like, given a choice, I would have never done the sales conversations ever. I don't know how long I would have postponed, but since
Yes.
I remember I used to call you last minute as well, I'm gonna do it now. You think I should say this?
I know, I
So
know.
all those jitters were there, but the sales conversations were important. You made me feel that the more no's I get, I am closer to a yes. Like
Yes.
that kept me going.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I did the sales conversations, and yeah, like people were like responsive. They'll be like, are you willing to work with me? And they'll be like, yes, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and either
And
a yes or a no, and that's okay, right?
yeah,
But just yeah, it's important to. I just wanted to kind of mention for anyone who's listening that that's an important part of us working together. Yeah.
mm, mm. So
Right.
it became easier, Shilpa. It became, initially they used to feel very uncomfortable, but now it feels all right. Like it's okay.
Yeah. And I think bringing it back to enoughness, um, like, do you see, Madhu, that it was inside you all along?
Mm,
And it's
mm,
just that, you had probably forgotten, or you were not even aware that I have a selling muscle inside me, right? And it
mm.
had to be
True.
stretched a little bit, and, like do a bit of muscle building exercises. And now you can just use that muscle, very comfortably.
Yeah.
So,
Mm,
so
yeah.
in
Yeah.
wrapping up, Madhu, from your, entire personal experience, is there any advice you would like to give? Actually, before that, I want to clarify a little bit.
Mhm.
So a little few months ago, you mentioned pedestal, and I
Mm,
wanted to interrupt, but I just paused myself. But I think,
yeah.
and as well, it's a healthy pedestal. because we are not looking to become goddesses and be so far up there of our clients that they feel they are not good enough to even approach us. So, just want to be mindful for, anyone who's listening to this, your perception. Like, the intention is not to write a book and go up on the pedestal, but because if we put ourselves on a pedestal, our clients will never, we will not get business. We have to be in the trenches with them and humanly with them, But authority is maybe a better word, that yes, they think that yes, she has been there in the trenches and she has come out of it. So she probably that she can help me.
That's true. That's true.
Cool. I'm so glad I remembered to clarify that. Otherwise, I would have myself. So, from your personal experience, is there any advice you would like to give to anyone who's feeling, even slightly confused or very confused, or contemplating the idea of writing their own book, but stopping themselves for whatever rules? What would you tell them?
My only advice is action is the only answer for confusion.
Yes, correct answer. I taught you that, right? No, it was original. So yes.
So how would you know unless you actually do it?
Yeah. Love it. Thank you. We will keep it crisp. It's really beautiful. It's punchy. And before we wrap up, Madhu, please once again share with the listeners, briefly, what is it that you do and where can they find you?
Yeah. So I help women live extraordinary lives. So when I say extraordinary, doing things that matter most to us. So if it is achieving extraordinary career success alongside living a personal and fulfilling life, then that's what I help my women do. And to me, every woman is a leader. We all have it inside us. We just have to make it shine for others to see. And that's what I help women with. Just step up to the leader that they are. They can find me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active there. I have a Facebook group called Lead Yourself to Lead Others. Because that's the first key. Like, you have to lead yourself, to lead others. If that comes first.
Keep going.
Sorry.
Keep going.
My book's name is Stride, as you saw it on the cover. So stride means to leap up and never look back and take a determined step forward. That's what my work stands for. And you can see those two fast forward arrows.
Yep.
That stands for actually fast tracking. So accelerating, fast tracking your journey, a woman's journey towards extraordinary. So that's pretty much what I do.
And I have a couple of, what can I say, comments to add. First of all, I'm really curious. Are you wearing one of your branded t-shirts?
Not really. But
no,
yeah, it sort of has the color.
No. I thought there was a bit of, I saw a shade of red. I was like, maybe she's got her look on the t-shirt. No, cool. And when you were saying, lead yourself to lead others, it reminds me of a cartoon I just saw a little while ago on Facebook. There's this speaker and he's saying, who wants change? And everyone's like this, and then he says, who wants to change? And everyone's like, So that is exactly not what Madhu does. So yes, if we've got to work with her, if you need to work with her, you've got to be willing for change. And if you've got to be working with me, you've got to be willing to take responsibility and take action, as Madhu said, right? So thank you so much, Madhu. This is my first Enoughness interview, and people are going to see it all over the internet. You're going to get a copy of it, and look forward for people reaching out to you. And for all of you listening to this, share with us what you got out of it, and feel free to get in touch with Madhu for women leadership related work, and with me for getting your book done, right?
Thank you so much for the amazing opportunity, Shilpa.
Oh, absolutely, my pleasure.
And for our amazing relationship.
Oh, absolutely, cherish it. Just wait a minute. Bye.